I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. Since even yesterday when I did 2 reviews, 10 new cards have come out for Death Knights. So I get to do another review on this, and we're going to start here on the first card the last card we left off was on this one. So the first card one is going to be Nerubian Swarm Guard. And Nerubian Swarm Guard is a 4 mana undead rune, 1 undead rune. So I'll just call this a 4 mana undead. Actually, we'll do this as a 4 mana green gem. 1/3 that says summon 2 copies of this minion. Every time that you see something that says summon a copy of this, you've got to be incredibly cautious, incredibly careful. Saturday Night Chain Game got nerfed because of this effect. The Murloc that was summoned a copy of itself at one point got nerfed because of this, not directly but indirectly. It's 4 mana, you're summoning 3 1/3s. So worst case scenario, you're summoning a 3/9 for a 4 that's spread over 3 bodies. And if you can get any kind of hand buff on this, you're going to be interested. I just haven't seen any hand buffs for Death Knights yet. So I'm not sure where this is getting the buff from before you put it down. I'll have to look when all the cards are revealed and see if I missed anything. But as far as I can tell, there's no real way to buff this. So I'm going to give this, if you can buff it, great. If you can't buff it, eh. Next one up for us is going to be number 2. They made the format really weird this time around, so it's hard for me just to do this quickly. So number 2 for us is going to be the Possessifier. Possessifier is a 5 mana 3/3 1 green gem Death Knight card. These are all Death Knight cards today, which has summoned 2 1/1 fighters with Rush and Reborn. For 5 mana, this is summoning you quite the board. You get basically, this is the equivalent of getting a 5/5, but with 2 of that being instantaneous damage. So this is basically like summon a 5/5 and deal 2 to a minion for the equivalent of 5. Plus, if nothing else, if your opponent just has to wipe your board, this is putting 7 corpses right into your pool. So this is a 7 corpse card. At this point, I'm not sure how many corpses are needed, but if you can just play regular cards and not care that you're putting corpses into your graveyard, and just like have 1 or 2 come in every once in a while. Or if you're gonna need like 7, 15, 27 corpses in here. So I'm gonna give this a 5/5 out of 7 corpses. Next up for us is number 3, which is Bone Digger Geist, which is a 2-mana 2/2 that has Battle Cry, spend a corpse in game +1/+2. So, best case scenario, you're using a 3/4 on 2, but you need a corpse down. Early game, that's fine. In fact, it's almost snowbally, but I'm not sure where your buffs are coming from to help you work on this card. So you summon a 2/4, and your opponent's scared that there's a 2/4 on the board. Fine. But then next turn, what are you doing to make this be scary again? Yeah, you can hit your opponent for 3. Because you have a 3/4 on turn 2. But what are you doing on turn 4? What are you doing on turn 5 to make this stay scary? So I'm going to give this a great start, but bad finisher. Next up for us is number 4. Number 4 for us is Unholy Frenzy, which is a 3-mana, 1 green gem, neutral spell, which is really weird that they didn't make this a fel spell or a shadow. And what it does is it chooses an enemy minion, your minions attack it, and resummon any that die. This is a better card than a lot of people give it credit for, because simply the fact that you can decide and pick how you're trading. So let's say you have a minion on your opponent's side of the board, and you use 2 of your minions to hide it clear down, but it's not quite dead, but your minions didn't die either. You can play Unholy Frenzy, summon your 2 minions into it, have your 2 minions die, and then get your 2 minions back at full attack, full defense. And that's what's scary about this. This is just sliding into a deck, and even if it gets 2 trade-ins, that's fine. Imagine you've got a 5/5 and a 5/5 down on the board. Just a regular 5/5 and a 5/5 down on the board. And you're basically trying to take down a 4/12 dragon. Your 2 5/5s trade in, deal basically almost kill off that 4/12 dragon. But it can't quite use 3 more mana. You kill off the dragon and you get your 2 5/5s back. Plus, you would get 2 corpses in your graveyard, but I don't think that's a necessarily care part about this. Also, Death Rhinos are going to be interesting on this. You put something like Emperor Thorzan, or not Emperor Thorzan, the 1-mana 1/1 undead skeleton that draws you a card. You draw a card, get it back. Now you get another draw. So I'm gonna give this. Doesn't seem like it's useful, but it can be very scary. Next up for us is number 5. Number 5 for us today is going to be the Meat Grinder. The Meat Grinder is a 3 mana, 1 green gem 3/4 mech. That says, Battle Cry, shred a minion in your deck and gain 3 corpses. The problem with a card like this is, on the one hand, it's basically pseudo draw, because this is basically removing a card from your deck. So if you're playing a fast deck, this is basically like saying, in playing with a 30 card deck, you're going to be playing with a 29 card deck, and if you're playing 2 of these, you're playing with a 28 card deck. The problem is that, do you care? I mean, to a certain degree, you can say that whatever card this grinds was going to be at the bottom of your deck no matter what. So, even if you destroy it 8/8 or 9/9 or 12/12, if you weren't planning on going to turn 6, turn 7, which most times you might not be planning on with a deck like this, you know, what difference does it make? You weren't mostly going to see that card. It's the Schrödinger's Fireball. I mean, there's going to be times where you destroy a 1/1 and you giggle. There's going to be times where you get an 8/8 off of this and you cry. But even when you get the 8/8 off of this, as far as you're concerned, that was going to be card number 30 for you anyway. And what was the likelihood that you're going to get the card 30? And if that was card 30, how much was that going to help you? The problem is that a 3 mana 3/4 isn't great. You can do a lot better on turn 3 just in neutral cards. And adding 3 corpses to your pile? Do you care? So I'm giving this out a downside isn't worth the stats. Next up for us is card number 6. I gotta flip pages. Card number 6 for us is the Blight Fang. A Blight Fang is a 3 mana, 3/3, 1 green gem that says, Battle Cry, infect all enemies with Death Rattle, summon a 2/2 zombie with Taunt for your opponent. So you're looking at trying to do something where on turn 3, your opponent has like 6 little minions, that are like 6 little 1/1s, so that you can maybe on turn 4 kill those 1/1s and get 6 mana, 6 little 2/2s on your side. I mean, that's your best case scenario, basically. You know, that turn 3 you play this down, your opponent has 6 1/1s. Your opponent, you pass the turn, your opponent goes face with all 6 1/1s, so you take 6 damage. And then next turn, somehow you're able to kill off those 1/1s, and now you've got 6 2/2s that your opponent has to deal with. That's a very weird point that you want to be at in life. Other than that, this really starts to go down in value as the turns go by. You play this on turn 5, and your opponent has a 6/6, you know. You play this, you're basically skipping that turn unless you have something else to leave in. your opponent deals 6 to you, and next turn you're doing what exactly? Even if you kill off their 6/6, you get a 2/2 on your side. So I'm giving this a... stats seem powerful out of until you see how little you play. Alright, next up for us is number 7. Number 7 for us is the Necrotic Mortenic. I'm probably butchering half these names. And what this card does, it's a 2 mana, 2 green gem. So, 2/3 minion. And it has Battle Cry. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, discover an unholy rune. I'm not even sure how this card works. Because what it says is Battle Cry, if a friendly undead died after your last turn. So does that mean that, like, your opponent has to kill an undead on your off turn? So if you play this, if you had an undead on your board, and you traded it in, and then you end the turn, and your opponent just plays a regular minion, and then you slam this down, be like, haha, I played it, I killed an undead last turn. Will this not trigger? The way it's technically worded, the way that would have to happen is you would have to have an undead on your side of the board, end your turn, your opponent has to swing into that undead and kill it. And then next turn you get this ability. To know that that's how that's gotta work for something like this is really unintuitive. Because if you have this in your hand and you trade in the undead on your turn, figuring that you can play this next turn, you might be really sad. And then again, part of what's also I need to know about this card is, from what I'm reading, from how it's worded, you get an undead card, rune card. So you get a green gem card. You can't get this card because of how Discover rules work. So you're never getting another one of these. But you can get anything that's green gemmed. And yes, the pool is sort of small at this particular point. And we gotta see exactly how small that pool is, how common it is to pull something ridiculous off of just the pool being so small right now. But it's not just a creature, it could be a spell. And the other thing that's weird about this particular card is this card itself, even though it looks ridiculously undead, like this thing looks like it is undead 6 times over. And just how it looks in my picture. It is not undead. So if you put this down, it dies, and then you get and draw another one of this, you will not get the effect. So I'm gonna give this a would be interesting, but text needs to be more clear. Next up for us is number 8. Number 8 for us is going to be this one, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. From what I would pronounce this, I would call this Yar Jar, Deathbringer. Yarmar Jar. Yeah, I mean, they're just trying to make up words at this point. And what this one is, it's a 3 mana, 2 green gemmed, 3/3 that says spend 3 corpses to summon a 3/3 risen one of this card, which kind of looks like this, and with taunt. And the thing that you have to remember about all risen cards is it says right here that this card does not leave a corpse. So you're spending 3 mana from how I'm interpreting this card. And again, this is one of the things that we're going to have to find out about, like, how Death Knights work. You need the 3 corpses in your pile before this dies. So as far as I am aware, this won't count itself. So if you have 2 corpses and then this dies, it checks the corpses first and then adds its corpse to the pile. And that's going to be semi-interesting because, you know, do you want to have 2 copies of this? Basically, this is almost the equivalent of, like, Kindly Grandmother. And Kindly Grandmother does not require you to jump through this many hoops to get to this point. You know, one of the things that Death Knight's always got to be careful of is how many neutral cards are in the set right now. You know, Death Knight's allowed to play with neutral cards also. So, is this better than a neutral 3 mana? Just something where you don't have to worry about what gems you're playing. So I'm going to give this a 3 mana out of 3 corpses. Next up for us is number 9. Number 9 for us is going to be Tomb Guards. Tomb Guardians, I should say. Tomb Guardians is a 4 mana double green gemmed shadow spell that says summon 2/2 zombies with taunt. Spend 4 corpses to give them reborn. Meh. I mean, they have taunt. They're 2/2s. And when you put them reborn, that's going to be like a real defensive body to get around. Especially on turn 4. But on turn 4, do you have 4 corpses in your graveyard? Yes, I'm aware that there is cards out there that'll put corpses in your graveyard. And what's sort of nice about this particular card, and what you kind of got to look into, is if you play this down and you can get the 4 corpses off, then if they kill all 4 of your corpses, because they gotta attack the 2-2, then that counts as a corpse. And then they gotta kill the 2-2, and that counts as a corpse. And then they get reborn, which is they have to kill the 2-2 again, and the other 2-2 again. You get 4 corpses back, and that means you can play this the turn after this and make them do it again. So, if you can start the chain on this, you can continue the chain on this. And after doing the stuff in Renathal with the last set, when you saw how powerful Infuse was, and how easy it was to get Infuse off, you can almost think of this as Infuse in Jason. Every time that you see something like this, you can basically sit there and go, okay, if this had Infuse 4, would you want to play it? So every time you see some of these cards, try to think about it that way and see if it still makes sense. So I'll give this a hard to get the chain going, but can be annoying. So the last card for us for today is going to be the Stitch Giant. Stitch Giant is a 10 mana, 2 green gem, 8/8 like every other giant in the world. That costs 1 less for each corpse you've spent this game. What you have to be careful about with a card like this, the way that it's written, at least the way that I'm reading it, and I have read cards wrong in the past, is that you have to spend the corpse to get it down. So when you're looking at a card, and I gotta flip back, like Tomb Guardian. Okay, this is spending 4 corpses. But when you're looking at a card like let me flip back. Like this one here. This is not spending a corpse. This is putting a corpse in your graveyard. And the one thing that you kind of got to remember, and what most people might forget, because it doesn't get brought up from time to time, is that if you have nothing better to do, or if you have nothing better to see at that point, you can use your hero power to make a 1/1 that's going to add a corpse to your pile. So, if you're going to play this, you have to have cards in your deck that spend corpses. To have this be semi-useful, this has to come down on turn 5. So, if we're going to use the last card as an example, that would eat 4 corpses, and then you can do it again to eat 4 corpses. Which would make this then be 1. So there are times where it will be possible to put this down on turn 5. The thing is, even if you get this down on turn 5, I'm not sure what turn you would need in Hearthstone as it's being played right now. If you got this down on turn 4, would it even see turn 5? Or is somebody just gonna kill it? Or are you too far behind for that to even make a bit of difference? So I'm gonna give this a, not the corpses you've made out of, it's the corpses you spent. Alright, those have been the next 10 cards that got revealed. I should be doing another review tomorrow because I know there's more cards coming out tomorrow. So thank you all so much for watching. And as always, remember, play for fun.